1-year, $7 million deal really helps that Texans secondary. Aaron Colvin, Jonathan Joseph already back there. When you sign Tyrann Mathieu, it is a big-time move. And for Mathieu and his contract, what do you make of it?
I love it. To only get $7 million a year, I thought is very much under the market value for Tyrann Mathieu. I thought he could have easily gotten more, or at least maybe should have gotten more. I think from Mathieu's perspective, he wanted a 1-year prove-it deal. He didn't end up getting that, or that's what he ended up getting. Now, next year, he's going to get a whole big, fat new contract. Houston will set the cap space so they could try and re-sign him if it's a good fit. I like the additions to go with him, along with Aaron Colvin and Jonathan Joseph. I still maintain that Arizona should not have cut Tyrann Mathieu. I didn't think that was a good idea. I thought that they would have been better off keeping him. Yes, there are injury concerns with Mathieu. Yes, there's the fact that he's often been hurt really throughout his NFL career, even back to LSU. He's not always able to stay healthy. But in terms of a 1-year, $7 million deal, I will take that risk every single season.
Now, Tom, let's clarify with the audience here. When we say best contracts, what are we talking about for the teams?
We're talking about for the teams and also the ones that kind of were a little bit under market value. We're not going to say, oh, Kirk Cousins was a great signing. A, we talked about him a lot on this show. B, yeah, it's the #1 contract. It's a good contract, I think, in general, but like I don't think it's the best ones. I'm looking in particular for deals that were signed under market value.
Okay.
Players that signed for less than maybe they should have gotten, or compared to other particular players on the open market, they got a better deal on that end. So that's where I sit with Mathieu. I thought getting him was a strong addition. I love the fit for Houston. I think he feels a perfect need there. He was one of the 5 teams, the Texans, I should say, one of the 5 teams I thought made the most sense for Mathieu. They ended up getting him, and I think that's a perfect fit for the Houston Texans going forward there. So I give this an easy A++ signing for me, Cam. I am curious, though, do you agree with me here on Mathieu?
So the Houston Texans had a couple of needs going into this offseason,
Yes.
Tom. It was the offensive line that struggled mightily in pass protection and run blocking. It was that secondary, most notably because Kareem Jackson could not cover at all. Jonathan Joseph was getting a little older as well. And they needed playmakers back there. Tyrann Mathieu is going to be the ultimate playmaker for that defense. And oh, by the way, you have a front 7 for the Houston Texans that was without J.J. Watt for much of the season. And maybe that had a part of why the Texans were ranked 24th against the pass last year. 2 years ago, Tom, they were ranked 2nd. So you're getting a little healthier with J.J. Watt, right? You got Jadeveon Clowney as well. Now you got Tyrann Mathieu coming. And Aaron Colvin, I know A.J. Bouye likes to steal the headlines, and Jalen Ramsey as well at the corner position. But Colvin had a good year for the Jaguars last year, too.
He did. He's a really good nickel corner. Now when you go to like dime packages and whatever, you can have Mathieu and Colvin in that nickel slot position. I think it's a great fit for Houston. Look, I'll say it time and time again. I thought Tyrann Mathieu for $7 million, I think it might end up being the best contract given out in all of free agency. I think that's an absolute steal. Yeah, it's not necessarily having the same amount of length when it comes to the security that other players are going to get, but I thought overall it was a strong addition.
All right, so let's go to another top contract here, under market value, shall we say. A.J. McCarron going to the Buffalo Bills here, Tom. Pretty cheap.
Look, McCarron, I think, took less money so that he can be a starting quarterback somewhere, or at least a bridge starter. But this is backup quarterback money for a dude that the Browns almost gave up more than the Niners gave up for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like
Brandon Beane is laughing right now.
Like, this was an absolute steal by Buffalo. Now, I am not the biggest A.J. McCarron believer. I don't think he's the best guy out there. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I don't even think he's a true starting quarterback. But you've got a guy that I think can at least be a bridge and is getting $5 million per year. Now, yes, there's more available for in terms of like getting extra money on that end, getting incentives and whatnot. But look at the other contracts given out. Sam Bradford got $20 million. Keenum got $236. McCown got $1 and $10. Daniel got $5. McCarron got $5. The Bills paid their, at least for the time being, starting quarterback, backup quarterback money. That is a win in my mind.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
So there's A.J. McCarron, as you see some of the numbers from other quarterbacks so far this free agency period. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Dontari Poe, and he played for the Falcons last year. He's headed to the Carolina Panthers. 3-year, $27 million deal with them. What do you make of this contract?
I thought this was actually a steal for the Panthers because, yes, he's now left the Falcons and he's now with the Carolina Panthers. And, yeah, they lost their one defensive lineman star, Lutulele. Hopefully I got the name right. That one's always been Lutulele. Always been a tough one for me for whatever reason. But you look at what the other teams got, or other defensive linemen got this year. Star got $10 million per year over a 5-year contract. Dontari Poe, not that different from Sheldon Richardson, and he's locked up for a longer length of that contract. I thought in reality, the Panthers got a better player at a cheaper deal going from Poe to Star. That's a win in my book. I don't know if it's going to be, maybe Poe doesn't have the most productive year for Carolina, but I thought the price they got for him was actually in reality a little bit less than they should have had to pay for a player of Poe's caliber. I love this signing, Cam.
All right, so Dontari Poe, a nice fit for the Carolina Panthers, a team that, of course, will be a pretty solid defensive squad in that front seven as well as that secondary. So Dontari Poe, nice contract there for the for the Carolina Panthers. Let's check in now with the next player here. And, you know, Tom, we're looking at Carlos Hyde here, who's now a member of the Cleveland Browns. What do we make of this contract here?
I thought it was a steal. 3 years, 15.5, or 3 years, 15 million, excuse me there. I think it's a steal for Carlos Hyde. Not only that, it's actually 15.25, but we just rounded down for purposes of that graphic.
Math is hard.
Math is very hard, but it is. In reality, it's about $5 million per year. Only $5 million of that is guaranteed. So if you're the Browns and you take Carlos Hyde, you got a year of him starting, and then you can bail. At that point, you don't need to keep him locked in. Dion Lewis, McKinnon, and maybe not Crowell, but a lot of these other halfbacks are all locked in for multiple years. So if Hyde struggles for whatever reason or he has a down year, all of a sudden they are in position to move on. And I think getting a guy like Hyde at in what is in reality almost an identical deal to Dion Lewis and is only a couple million more than Isaiah Crowell and is less than Jerick McKinnon, I thought the Browns got one of the best halfbacks on the roster or in free agency and didn't pay the most amount. I thought it was an absolute steal for the Browns to get that amount of money locked in.
Another solid contract in free agency, Michael Crabtree's, as he is headed to the Baltimore Ravens. 3-year deal, $21 million worth. The Ravens need a possession receiver in the worst way, and Crabtree coming over on a not-so-expensive deal.
An absolute steal. 3 years, $21 million. That's $7 million, which is around the top 30 mark for wide receivers. I think you can argue Crabtree is easily a top 30 wide receiver, and that includes guys on their first-year contracts. So there's some money involved there. And we'll get to some of the other examples here of what the Ravens were going up against when it comes to other wide receivers. Here are some of the other deals that came in around this price range. Paul Richardson, a lot of money.
LOL.
Marquise Lee, Albert Wilson, Jordy Nelson, all got more per year than Michael Crabtree did. That is a win through and through. Hats off to the Ravens. Maybe they did Ryan Grant 30, but they got, I thought, the best receiver contract this offseason.
They certainly got the win out of that hunt,
Absolutely,
and Ryan Grant is still looking to get employed. So Michael Crabtree, nice contract there for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go into the 5 worst contracts, the way overpriced players out there. And we're going to start things off with the tackle position. Left tackle, Nate Solder, heading on over to the New York Giants. And there you see him at the top of your screen, folks. $15.5 million. Way more than Trent Williams, who is an elite left tackle. Russell Okung is great on his own as well. Tyron Smith, are you kidding me? $12.2 million? And there's Nate Solder at the top. Come on.
Cam, what if I told you that when healthy, when all the NFC East left tackles are healthy, the Giants are paying the most of anyone, and they actually have the worst starting left tackle in the NFC East? Because Smith is better when healthy, Trent Williams is better when healthy, and I think so is Jason Peters.
Yeah.
I like Nate Solder, but you made him the highest paid left tackle in the NFL? I really, really don't like that one, Giants. I thought that was a bad decision on that end. And not only that, we'll talk about the Giants. They almost made the losers list. They lost 2 key interior linemen, and they paid Nate Solder a lot of money. They didn't actually get better on the offensive line yet because they lost 2 starters, only replaced them with 1. I'm not a huge fan of what the Giants have done thus far in the offseason.
Talking about Richburg and, of course, Justin Pugh moving on. So Nate Solder, one of the worst contracts out there, according to our projections and our analysis here. How about Jerick McKinnon? Big-time contract for him. He's headed to the San Francisco 49ers, 4-year, $30 million deal, Tom.
Look, I like Jerick McKinnon. He's a good halfback. He can be an all-3-down back for you. He can carry the ball. He can catch it as well. Why on God's green earth are you making him a top 5 highest-paid running back in the NFL? What happened was the Niners and I think the Jets got into a bidding war, and then all of a sudden the Niners said, okay, fine, we'll give you $30 million over 4 years. It's like, he's making almost as much as LaShawn McCoy is. McKinnon has never been an every down back in the NFL, and he's not going to be one for San Francisco. I think Matt Breida or Joe Williams will also cut into the work. I think Jerick McKinnon is going to put up Tevin Coleman-esque numbers for the 49ers, and that's a valuable player. But top 5 among halfbacks?
That's a lot.
That's way too much money. I know that the running back market is really weird because there's Lev Bell, everyone else, including rookies, because they were drafted early. But this is way too much money to pay a halfback who, in reality, he's nice, but he's not a top 10 or top 15 running back. Why'd you pay him like one?
Look at him above Leonard Fournette there and just below LaShawn McCoy. And you're probably laughing to yourself if you're watching this program right now. Le'Veon Bell is great. Devontae Freeman's great. LaShawn McCoy is great. Of course, Leonard Fournette is a bulldozer. And then there's just Jerick McKinnon.
You know, there's an argument that you shouldn't take RBs high because guys like Fournette get paid so much because of the first-year wage scale. Yet you throw McKinnon even more. You would have been better off taking a halfback early and saving money for a better player. Just don't get it. Just absolutely do not get it there on that end. So we'll get to some more players here in just a minute, but it's just too much money for McKinnon on that front.
All right, so Donte Moncrief is now a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a 1-year, $9.8 million deal.
Why?
Tom, try to contain yourself here.
I don't understand what NFL teams see in Donte Moncrief to justify, yeah, we're going to pay this guy nearly $10 million. We're going to make him our #1 wide receiver. Donte Moncrief has never come close to #1 wide receiver money.
Is that good?
No, it's not good. Like, I know that Luck's been hurt, but if you're going to make that argument, which is a fine argument, Blake Bortles is the quarterback in Jacksonville. You've set yourself up for more issues. Like Donte Moncrief, he'll be a good red zone threat. Why are you paying him nearly $10 million and throwing on incentives? Why was Donte Moncrief worth so much money? I just don't understand it. He's not worth that amount of money. The Jaguars wildly overpaid. If you're going to throw $10 million at Moncrief and a bunch at Marquise Lee, just go sign Allen Robinson. That's more effective with your money, and then draft somebody else too. Or just draft someone who won't sign Donte Moncrief. It's an awful signing. It's only one year, which just help it a little bit. But that is way too much money for Moncrief, who has not had his breakout year, and you're paying him like he just had it. Doesn't make any sense.
Let's get to another bad contract here. Anthony Hitchens, a guy you know a lot, Tom, a former Dallas Cowboy. What do we make of this?
I just don't know why Anthony Hitchens got the most money of all the linebackers off. Like, I like Hitchens. He's a nice player. He's a good #2 linebacker in the NFL. He'll be a starter for you. He's normally not hurt. He's a good run stopper. He can play all 3 downs for you. But you look at the other linebackers that people got this offseason, why are you paying Hitchens $5 million more than Bradham? A lot more than Demario Davis and Avery Williamson and Zach Brown. Zach Brown put up better numbers than Hitchens. Look, the Chiefs love Anthony Hitchens. They want to throw money at him. They wanted to get him in before this year. They tried to trade for him. Didn't happen. They said, okay, we're going to go to Anthony Hitchens. I guarantee Hitchens and his agent and the Chiefs sat down and the Chiefs made their offer. Hitchens on the inside was like, I'm worth how much to you? All right, where do I sign? Like, the Cowboys would have loved to bring him back at half that price. That is too much money for Hitchens. He'll be a good starter, but 5 years, $45 million for a #2 linebacker? I just don't like it at all, plain and simple.
All right, let's get to another really bad contract, and this one is like pukey bad. Trumaine Johnson to the New York Jets. 5 years, $72.5 million with $45 million guaranteed for a cornerback ranked in the 60s, according to Pro Football Focus a year ago.
I mean, it's a lot of money for Johnson, and the Jets have it, and they can front the deal, and it'll be okay in 2 years, but this is, again, based on the average yearly salary, $14.5 million. You know, it's funny because you saw Patrick Peterson get his deal, and then Xavier Rhodes minimally went over it, and then Johnson says, nope, I'm going to get almost an extra $5 million on top of that, only behind Josh Norman, who had quite a bit of a market when the Panthers took off his franchise tag. It's just, I like Trumaine Johnson, but I know that you might even hit this deal more than I do, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the names surrounding Johnson there on that list, and he just doesn't belong in that company now. He used to be, but he doesn't anymore.
And he can bounce back, but I just have a tough time believing that he had that type of market out there.
I'm sorry. When you don't perform well in a Wade Phillips system, that is a concern for me. You look at some of the numbers here. He actually gave up top 5 most yards in coverage among all corners last season. And he's getting that kind of money. Maybe it was a brand name kind of signing. I don't know. Maybe the Jets didn't do their homework. Very possible as well. But he's on our list as a bad contract so far this offseason.
Too much money.